Why are there not more people talking about the untold horrors of WW2 atrocities? The silence surrounding these events is deafening. Stay tuned as we delve deep into the hidden and often overlooked dark truths behind this brutal practice. We will explore the stories of those who suffered, the perpetrators, and the lasting impact on our world today. Join us on this journey to uncover the grim realities that history books often omit. Firstly, stripping prisoners of their clothing was a calculated method of dehumanization. This act was not just about taking away their physical garments, but it was a deliberate attempt to erase their personal identity and individuality. Clothing is often seen as an extension of oneself, a way to express personality, status, and cultural background. By removing this, the Nazis aimed to strip away the very essence of who these individuals were. By removing their last semblance of personal identity and dignity, the Nazis aimed to strip away their humanity. Clothing often represents a person's status, personality, and even their cultural background. Without it, prisoners were reduced to mere numbers, faceless and nameless. This was a deliberate tactic to make them feel less than human, to make them feel like they were nothing more than objects to be used and discarded. This process of dehumanization was systematic. It was meticulously planned and executed to ensure that prisoners felt completely powerless. The removal of clothing was just the beginning of a series of actions designed to break their will and spirit. The Nazis understood that by taking away their clothing, they were taking away a part of their identity, making it easier to control and manipulate them. It broke the prisoner's spirit and made them easier to control. When individuals are stripped of their dignity and identity, they become more susceptible to manipulation and control. The Nazis understood this psychological tactic very well. They knew that by breaking down the prisoner's sense of self, they could more easily impose their will upon them. Naked and vulnerable, they were less likely to resist or fight back. The sense of exposure and vulnerability made it difficult for prisoners to muster the courage to rebel. This was a cruel but effective strategy to maintain dominance and suppress any form of resistance. The psychological impact of being stripped naked in front of others cannot be underestimated. It was a way to humiliate and degrade the prisoners, to make them feel completely powerless and at the mercy of their captors. In addition to clothing, personal items such as wedding rings, watches, and family photos were also confiscated. These items held significant sentimental value and were a connection to the prisoners' past lives and loved ones. By taking these away, the Nazis further severed any ties the prisoners had to their previous identities and lives. This was another layer of dehumanization, stripping away not just their physical identity, but also their emotional and psychological connections. The dehumanization process continued with the tattooing of identification numbers on the prisoners' bodies. This act reduced them to mere numbers, stripping away their names and personal histories. It was a way to further dehumanize and depersonalize them, making it easier for the Nazis to treat them as expendable objects rather than human beings. The living conditions in the concentration camps were another aspect of the dehumanization strategy. Overcrowded barracks, lack of sanitation, and insufficient food and water were all designed to break the prisoners' spirits and make them feel less than human. The constant struggle for survival in such harsh conditions further eroded their sense of self and dignity. Forced labor was another method used to dehumanize the prisoners. They were made to work long hours in grueling conditions, often with little to no rest. This not only physically exhausted them, but also mentally and emotionally drained them. The constant toil and lack of autonomy made them feel like mere cogs in a machine, further stripping away their humanity. The cumulative effect of these dehumanization tactics was a profound sense of despair and hopelessness among the prisoners. Stripped of their clothing, personal items, and even their names, they were left feeling completely powerless and at the mercy of their captors. This was the ultimate goal of the Nazis' dehumanization strategy, to break the prisoners' spirits and make them easier to control and manipulate. Secondly, it was a form of psychological terror. The sight of other naked, terrified individuals created an atmosphere of sheer panic and hopelessness. Lastly, it served a practical purpose for the Nazis. Stripping prisoners ensured there were no hidden weapons or contraband. It also allowed them to seize valuables. Why are there not more people talking about the calculated cruelty of the Nazis during WW2? This was not just a series of random acts, but a meticulously planned and executed campaign of terror. The systematic extermination of millions was meant to instill fear and assert dominance. Understanding these reasons helps us remember and honor the victims, ensuring history doesn't repeat itself. By studying these dark chapters, we gain insight into the depths of human cruelty and the resilience of the human spirit. Memorials and commemorations serve as powerful reminders of the past. For more insights into history, subscribe and stay informed. Share this video to spread awareness and keep the memories of those who suffered alive. Thank you for watching. Your engagement helps foster a world where such atrocities are never forgotten and never repeated. What other aspects of history or tribes would you want us to expose for you? Tell us in your comments below.